gets stiffer and stiffer.
Indeed. AA is all about that entrance randomizer today, and we are underway. So, here we go. What did we find there in the sanctuary?
I was just opening the tracker, so if it was anything important, I definitely missed it.
Whoops. Alright, so it looks like we will be, that was a piece of heart, good. Looks like we will be, kind of running our own tracker today. I think Hervey's going to be all over that, and I will try to help you out with what I see.
Sounds good.
So everybody gives some love to Hervey for pulling double duty today.
No, I'm sure we'll get a dedicated tracker soon, but I'll fill in the meantime and try to pay enough attention. Looks like we
sync.
Yeah, this sync is something else. Looks like we got a bunch of arrows from the tree pulls and a bunch of arrows from the hoarder.
Yeah, I didn't actually see what was there on the lumberjack ledge. Like, they checked it so quickly, and it might have been off screen for both of them.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch it myself. It might, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Looked like a red potion.
Ooh, and there's a bow.
All right, so the archer class has been chosen here in the Lost Woods. And in the Thieves' Hideout, we have Big Love.
Not just more hearts.
Alright, so Jim with the save and quit strat from here. He's not going into Kakariko. I think this might be Jim's way of heading toward the bomb farm on the south side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
all those arrows.
Yeah, arrows will just knock things out. There's a pair of bushes just south of this haunted grove that can give you bombs. And that's where Jim is headed. And he picks up one. He says, we're going to do it again.
Yeah, bomb just not enough. Meanwhile, AA is dropping down into the well without any bombs, so he's going to try to find some here if he's lucky.
Yep, he'll hope to pick some up at the chest, but no guarantees there. And he finds the hookshot. Hookshot in Kakariko well as a bottle of red potion. So that takes care of the sick kid requirement. And he also found 300 rupees, making it extremely convenient to go purchase the bottle vendor's item and head down to the bomb shop to get some bombs. And Jim... Oh, the sick kid has the moon pearl today? What about that? So, Jim checks the race game, doesn't find anything he's particularly interested in, and checks the library faster than I can even think. Goodness. And it looks like we have somebody on tracking. Perhaps.
Yeah, it looks like Ryvik is taking over for us here for the track-in, so thank you, Ryvik. I don't have to pull double duty anymore.
Excellent. Well done, and thank you so much for that. Alright. So after AA purchased a cache of munitions, he's going to head back into the well, it looks like, to check that extra spot.
Yeah, you don't want to leave an item behind, especially not with what they've already found down here and then the rest of Kakariko.
So, I think if I had been running this and I had done what Jem did, which is go to Lost Woods and then save and quit out, what I might have done is take my bow and go up to Uncle's Tunnel and escape. And just wreck people. And hope to get bombs there, and then that way I don't have to farm them. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert.
Yeah, it's I don't know what I would have done. I was thinking about maybe going over to Eastern right away and checking out that area, or maybe immediately doing the South Shore route.
Yeah, the bow for Eastern is a pretty big deal. You can get all the way through it, especially if you're okay with doing the dark rooms. Alright, so the Moon Pearl was at the Sick Kid, and we saw Jim pick that up just now.
Yep, grabbed his Moon Pearl.
And we see AA finally starting from his own house, getting a 5-arrow upgrade, and he will be heading over to Eastern, it looks like. I think AA just did not go to the south part there. I don't think he even checked the library.
No, it looks like he left that out, including the race game and, as you say, the library, but,
Yeah, it does look like he's going to be okay with it. I don't actually know what was in the library, because Jim's checked it so quickly I couldn't even see. Money, it says. Sorry. I just saw the chat.
Oh, okay. Two pieces of heart and some bombs in the back of the Astralus hut, so nothing worth there, really. No, Gem is indeed going down to the Uncle route. Grab his first
Hey,
sword
vanilla straight-up sword. From the Uncle today. Did we accidentally make a standard seed and just throw it in open mode? Hey, there we go. There's my favorite item in the game right there. The magic powder.
Good safety item to have. I always feel a little bit uncomfortable if I have a seed that doesn't have a powder or a very light powder. I'm sadly one of those people who has to powder a couple of anti-fairies here and there.
Yeah, I'm basically powdering every anti-fairy I come across in Turtle Rock because I've taken like 17 damage from chain chomps and whatever.
Yeah, I know that feeling all too well.
Alright, so AA heading into Eastern, he finds 300 rupees in the first chest. Almost vanilla.
Yeah.
There is a 3-digit number of rupees in that chest normally, but it's the only 100 rupee in the game.
Does have enough.
We find the ice rod in the escape. So the ice rod is a pretty big deal, depending on if Turtle Rock is required. But if it is required, you want to make sure it doesn't troll you.
Yeah, the ice rod definitely the item in the game with the biggest troll potential, since it's really only required for a Trinex.
Just checking, Herfy, are you getting any game audio?
I am not.
Okay, just making sure. So we're being told that that Eastern is in fact a pendant.
Alright, so we've got a pendant dungeon here. We'll have to see if it decides to finish it off, or...
Oh! Lamp! So that actually unlocks Eastern. Eastern is completely open, according to the logic. According to the logic, you can go in, clear out Eastern, no problem.
We also found a vanilla blue boomerang on the way downwards here for Gem, so looks like a lot of escape is actually vanilla for some reason.
It's pretty ridiculous. And we find a set of bombs in the dungeon chest after Gem decides to death warp out. And he's going to make an attempt on the dark escape chest. Now, he doesn't have the lamp. We know where that is. So he's going to have to carefully make his way through this first dark area. Now, it's not as bad going this way to get the chest as it is coming from the back. Because the back, if you come in from the back, you have to get the, you have to kill a rat. And there's the mirror.
Eastern is loaded.
In Eastern, and AA is just going to mirror out. Knowing that it's a pendant, he's taking off. Looked like the other two dungeons in the Light World were crystals on that map check. I think.
Yeah, looked like it. I don't think we saw a 5 or 6 crystal there, but Eastern was the blue pendant, so maybe a good choice by AA to mirror out there. I think he got everything out of Eastern. He got the $300, he got the mirror, and he got the lamp.
Yep. So the only reason you would ever need to kill Argus is if for some reason there's a progression item on the Master Sword pedestal, which, you know, everybody in the chat hopes for, and Herfy Durfy just kind of rolls his eyes at them.
Maybe a little bit.
Alright, so AA doing the nice little hookshot trick to do the dam in one go.
Yep, meanwhile Gem is gonna make his dip into Eastern and find all those great items himself.
Oh, and there's the power glove!
Alright, we're getting there. Dark World Access is coming closer.
It's so bad. That's my impression of a 12-year-old kid who has very bad emphysema.
So all we really need right now is the Titansmiths or the hammer. I guess AA would like a sword sooner rather than later, but other than being a little trolled by this mini troll dome here, he's doing just fine.
Alright, so just a whole lot of love, money, and a little bit of arrow upgrade here in the mini Moldorm Cave, but, you know, I'm not going to argue with getting 2 full hearts in one location.
Yeah, especially this early on in the seed, I'm not mad about that. Of course, everyone would rather have some progression items, but getting some more hearts never hurts.
So, I just learned something from watching AA. Apparently the hookshot kills the birds. I'm dumb.
It sure does.
Alright, AA is actually doing the bomb setup for the fake flipper, which is interesting.
Yeah, interesting setup. I guess he feels more comfortable with this setup.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's consistent. You can't fail it.
Exactly.
You get knocked backward. So for those of you who don't know how fake flipper works... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Those of you who don't know how fake flipper works, when you hit the water, you have exactly 1 pixel before it checks to see if you have the flippers, or 1 frame. So if you stand exactly 1 pixel away from the screen transition, and then jump in the water, and then move toward the screen transition in that 1 frame, you can switch screens, and it will no longer check to see if you have the flippers. It will just assume you do.
Yep, this is a well-programmed game.
Yeah, it's not held together with duct tape at all. And there's the 20 rupees on the Lake Hylia Island, as AmazingAmpharos also picked up 300 from the hobo.
And with the Moon Pearl in hand, he can check the Waterfall Fairy as well, so he's getting almost every item here. The only thing he might have to leave behind is the ledge item, which might not be bad at all, or could be extremely bad for now.
Yeah, he's in the Zora area. He did a little juke to the side as he was heading into the waterfall cave here, because if you get hit while you're in the fake flipper state, you are dead. That is the way this works. You are straight dead. 300 more rupees on the ledge, so at least if you came up here with the flippers, you could get your money back to some extent from Zora.
Yeah, at least a little bit.
And AmazingAmpharos is going to spend a bunch of money, see what we will get.
Just a piece of cards. You know, usually I'd be complaining about that, but seeing how AA has almost enough to pay Zora again, I don't think he'll mind that much.
Indeed. Alright, so we see AA heading up to Sink. I think this might indicate... Okay, yeah, he's going to the back of Escape, which we may have seen Gem do earlier. I don't know if he found the small key in that dark chest.
I don't believe so.
Nope, there's the small key. And I think that just leaves the burrito down there.
Yeah, I think AA isn't even gonna bother with that dark chest because it can only be the burrito.
Burrito, of course, is the dungeon map for anybody uninitiated. You'll find there's a few memes here and there that we have sort of come through in the randomizer community, and I will try to explain them as they come along.
Yeah, there's only a very minuscule amount of those, so don't worry too much.
Only about 300. There's a meme for every chest in the game.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we've got 216 locations to check, and I think we got a meme for every one of them.
Get out of my head, Hervey. Anyway. So, AA is doing what I thought he was going to do next, which is head up to Death Mountain. He has the Moon Pearl, he's got the mirror, he's got the hook shot, he's got the lamp, and he's got the glove. Lamp and glove will get you up here. Hook shot will get you over to the east side, where there are 7 chests, plus 1 in Spiral Cave. And then mirror will get you up to Hera. So there's a whole chunk of things up here that you can check. And AA is heading over to the east side first because that's where the highest density of chests is. He's going to hope to pick up either, say, the Titan's Mitts or the hammer while he's up here.
Yep, he's really only looking for one more item for his Dark World access, as well as Gem. Gem is doing the same, obviously. It's maybe a little bit unfortunate for AA that he hasn't checked Uncle yet for that sword, but he's not really having much trouble here, so it's not that big of a deal, I assume.
So today I was playing the practice ROM, and I learned that the official, like, Japanese abbreviation for Magic Hammer is the MC Hammer.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
I think they have a couple other interesting names for stuff. Like the finger webs for the flippers.
Looks like we got I don't even know yet. I saw Cape in the chat and I was like, I don't remember seeing Cape. It's because it hasn't happened yet. You guys are bamboozling me.
Yeah, come on, guys. We're barely 20 minutes in. Stop thinking of all the trolls already. Alright, just another full heart container on the floating island. We're gonna see the Spiral Cave from AA now. At least he has the hookshot, so he doesn't have to bother waiting for those annoying berries.
Right. That at least speeds it up a bit. Also, when I get up here, I tend to have been trolled by dead rocks, and I have, like, 2 hearts.
Mm-hmm. Dead rocks and cabbages. Now Gem checking the back of Escape. Not gonna be too happy with what he finds here. I guess with only 2 bombs left, he's not too broken up about finding 3 bombs, but...
So now AA is going to head down into Escape, I think.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see Gem head up to Death Mountain as well, so...
So this is an interesting play. He's actually taking the vanilla route to the Uncle. I'm not sure that I like it that much. But we'll see.
Yeah, I guess he wants to immediately go into Hyrule Castle afterwards, so he figures this is like the most straightforward route, maybe?
Yeah.
I was also going to say I find it a little bit surprising that AA hasn't dipped into Hera, but then I realized he didn't have anything to kill Trolldorm with, so why would he?
Yep, well now he does.
Yep, now he does, which is probably not making him too happy.
Yeah, well, he could just save and quit up to Mountain Cave. That wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, with that
just to
safe
get back
spot
up there.
You can get up here reasonably quickly.
Now, I kind of expect Jem to go check the Hera area first.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with that lamp already, he can check the basement if it's required, so he doesn't even have to leave anything behind.
Alright, so on top of Spectacle Rock, we have 50 rupees. And inside...
Something
goodness, I didn't see it.
These guys, they must have really great vision, because this is like the second or third item that they've checked so quickly that I couldn't even make it out.
It's possible a couple of the pixels are off the top of the screen that we're not seeing.
Mm-hmm. There's that vanilla blue boomerang for AA. And Jem is immediately dipping into Hera, as we were saying, so let's see what he can find in here.
Oh, Titan Smith!
That is huge!
Oh, wow. So that opens up so very much of Death Mountain right now.
And considering where that was, I mean, I really don't blame AA for not going in here, but he could have definitely gotten those Titan Smiths if he went up here.
That is true. He's kind of going to be frustrated with that, but that's okay. He's getting back up here, and it really isn't that much further out of the way to have done this. So
No,
I think with everything, all things being equal, Jem is a little bit ahead at this moment. Minus the fact that Jem has not checked the right side of Death Mountain, so he's not checked Paradox Cave, but there's not much in there.
And Jem is showing us the dance of his people. Hold the pot over your head and scrape your face against the wall.
I was watching the pot dance, and I did not see what was in Spectacle Rock Cave. Single arrow? What?
Oh man, that was such a quick map check. All I caught was a crystal 5 or 6 at Skull Wood.
Wow. Some pretty fast stuff here. Now we are going to want to finish off Trolldorm, because this is a crystal dungeon, 100%. So A picks up that Titan's Mitts, and he will be showing us his strats for the coffee break room in the basement. It's called coffee break because... Ooh, Jem!
Oh, that hurts. That's 2 floors down.
Two floors down, of course, is my cover band. That being said, that bomb jump, I consider that bomb jump to be fairly risky. Because if you don't make it, that happens. You fall 2 floors and you get to make your way back up again.
Yeah, not only is it quite the time loss, it's also really annoying. It's probably one of the more annoying things that can happen to you in Rando, falling down that hole.
We call that room the coffee break room because there is a strat where you can get through it, you know, without really doing much. Jem finds the bug net, and we're doing the nice, the handheld bomb jump across the gap to return. So redeeming himself with that one, I think. That was pretty great.
Yeah, it looked pretty nice. So we got the Titan's Mitts, which are great, and we got the swag net in here, which is also great, obviously.
I do love me some bug net.
Oh, Jem, you are not having any luck today, looks like.
Gets immediately trolled by Trolldorm. That's what he's for. There are some things Trolldorm can do that you can do absolutely nothing about as a speedrunner, and that was one of them. Alright, so Jim gets a slash and another slash. With the fighter sword, you're going to be at the mercy of speed Trolldorm. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, unless you have a hammer or a master sword at least, there's no way to skip this crazy phase that he's in just now.
Yep. We have achieved speed Trolldorm, but the poke takes him down. Like, we have just hit peak Trolldorm. And there,
his first crystal.
As AA heads into the boss room himself. So pretty close race right now.
Yeah, these guys aren't far apart at all.
You say bootless fighter sword Trolldorm. Is there... Does boots give you like some extra damage with fighter sword?
I don't think it's extra damage, it's just you can do some pokes, which are a little bit safer, I believe, but I'm sure the Celsius will correct me in a second here.
Alright. Alright, so we're getting a slightly closer look at the Dark World map. We've got a red pendant at Turtle Rock, green pendant at Thieves Town, and Crystal 6 at Swamp Palace.
Yep, now Gem finishing up the Light World East Death Mountain while AA is hookshotting back over here to immediately grab that rock and check out the Dark World side of this.
So Alright, so thank you, Zelshaft, for the Moldorm lesson. So we've got AA immediately heading to Super Bunny Cave, which we expect.
Yep, gonna check that out. Unfortunately messes up the little hookshot glitch there, but not too awful.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing that can happen to you. It's a little finicky.
Yeah, in case anyone is wondering how to do that, well, sort of consistently. You push the left block up, you walk up to the right wall, and then you press left really quickly. You basically just want to walk 1 pixel away from the wall, and then you push to your right block and hookshot at the same time, and it'll usually pull you right through.
Yeah, it actually works more than 1 pixel away from the wall. I know this.
I think it does.
It's just, you have to make sure to fire the hookshot just really early, or you won't get far enough up onto the block to move through it. Speaking of hookshot, we've got AmazingAmpharos heading through the hookshot cave. There are 4 chests in here, all of which are accessible due to the hookshot. For those of you who don't know, there is 1 chest in here that is accessible without it, as long as you have the boots. But AmazingAmpharos goes through that cave and finds a whole lot of diddly.
Yeah, looks like East Death Mountain in general, Light World and Dark World, pretty disappointing.
So I think at this point we're down to, you know, well, we've got Titan's Mitts. Never mind. We can go to the Dark World. I was like, oh, we're down to Ice Rod Cave, Agonist Cave, and Aga, but no, we got Titan's Mitts. By the way, the lack of hammer does mean that Aghanim could still be required.
Yeah, as I've unfortunately learned in one of my first tournament matches, never count Aga 1 out if you don't have the hammer.
Yeah, I did in fact see one where the hammer was at, or actually the flute was at the Pyramid Fairy, and then the hammer was in the mire area.
Oh, man. Alright, so AA is doing what we would expect most runners to do. He's immediately gonna go and check out Skull Woods here.
Yep, very true. Skull Woods is fairly high level at this point. We see AA heads in the front door first in hopes that he finds a small key in that first chest. That way he doesn't have to go through the Gibdo party room.
Yeah, he's probably also going to do the same here and try to find that small key to go to the right. And
there it is.
Does not have to visit the trap room and waste some time, since we know there's a guaranteed small key in there, otherwise he couldn't get back out again.
Yeah, not without saving and quitting. And there is the big key. So we'll likely see AA doing a bomb jump here to get across the big chest. That looks like good placement to me.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
And just another small key in the big chest. So we'll see something likely in the vanilla big key chest back here, which AA is going to head to. I really need to learn the fast strat for this room without the Cane of Samaria.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Gibdos control you.
Yeah, these Gibdos aren't very nice, and then you have to deal with the randomly appearing Wallmaster.
Though, I don't think AA has to worry about, you know, dying to Gibdos. He's got plenty of health and the blue mail.
Yeah, defensive stuff has not been lacking this season.
Alright, so just a piece of heart there in the room. So far, the front of Skull Woods, just a bust. There might be one more item in Skull Woods. Just the one. There's only 2 items in Skull Woods. And when I say there might be one more item, I mean there will be one more item in Skull Woods. You just can't get to it right now because you need the fire rod.
Yep, no way for us to get into that back entrance yet.
Yep, and so the item will either be on Mothula herself, I'm unsure on that one, and or in the chest in the back. But both players will be going to kill Mothula eventually. Oh, you know what? The hammer cannot be at the Pyramid Fairy.
Why is that?
Because one of the 5/6 pendants is Swamp Palace.
Oh, okay. That, of course, makes complete sense.
It could still be, say, in Palace of Darkness, which they don't currently have a way to get to. They either need the hammer or the flippers to get over there.
Yep. I'm gonna get a bumper cave check here from Gem. I don't think AA checked this. It's only a piece of heart, so nothing too great.
Yep. Nice use of the jumping animation to dodge murder-dactyls.
Yeah, those guys can really mess up your day.
We don't call them the murder-dactyls for nothing. I think they're just called Dacto, but they're also really bad. They hurt like a truck. And AA is going to go digging.
One dig. Just a red rupee.
One dig for a big 20, and AA is out of there. And there's the flippers!
Oh, that's a huge find for Gem.
Flippers
right
on the graveyard ledge. That's big. That does give him access to the east side of the Dark World, and I think that rips Aga.
I believe so, yeah. This also theoretically at least gives him access to Swamp, but without the hammer he won't be able to get very far.
We see AA finally checking the library and the race game as part of this trip down into the southern part of Village of Outcasts. You know, he skipped it earlier, and he just routed it in here.
Yeah, interesting choice, but seems to have worked out quite nicely. I guess he knew he'd be back here eventually, and with the mirror in hand, you can just check it real quick, like.
Yep. No real problems there. Let me see. Jim is heading over to this area.
Checking the bat.
Checking Magic Bat. Very nice.
Also something that AA opted not to do.
Not yet, anyway. He may route it back in once he gets the hammer or something along those lines. But hammer at Magic Bat is a thing that can happen, and this is why Jim is checking it. And it's was that green or blue? It blended in with the background.
I think it was a blue one, so at least he got $5 instead of just one.
And there are the silver arrows in the Haunted Grove Cave.
Alright, that's also a very nice find, especially since these guys have the bow already.
Indeed, the silver arrows just wrecking almost anything that are vulnerable to arrows in one hit. I found out, so you know how Vitreous takes 2 hits to take down with silver arrows?
Mm-hmm.
There's another enemy in the game that takes 2 hits to take down with silver arrows.
What's that?
It is the Pokies.
Oh, wow. I've never tried shooting those guys with arrows.
Yeah. Did that the other night when I didn't have Fire Rod in Turtle Rock. An entrance key sanity, ladies and gentlemen. That was a thing.
It looks like we're getting our first hype cave check from AA here, while Gem is just clearing out Village of Outcasts and probably dipping right into Thieves Town here. It is the green pendant, but, you know, as we always say, never count out Thieves Town.
Never count out Thieves Town. So we have the big key. We've got a big heart. We've got Bombos and 5 bombs. So between the 2 of these runners, we have Titan's Mitts, we have Flippers, we have Bombos.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you keeping score at home, that means that a good portion of Ice Palace is now available. Not all of it, because some of it is locked by the hammer, but you could always have the hammer in Ice Palace.
Yeah, it would not be the first time.
Alright, we see Gem piecing out. I think he actually found 3 of the 4 items in the first 4 chests there in Thieves Town, so he's just going to piece out with having done that, hoping that last item isn't anything important.
Yeah, especially since you can't access the big chest right now, again missing the hammer.
And AA is checking Agnes Cave way out of the way. Oh no, he only found 2 items. My bad. I didn't see what was in the second chest. Okay, so we find a bottle with blue potion in Agnes Cave. I wouldn't be too disappointed by that, but I'd be a little disappointed.
Yeah, I guess a free blue goo isn't awful, but these guys really, really, really want their hammer.
So if you're a fan of AA right now, you're going to want him to head to that graveyard ledge as soon as possible so that he can get the flippers. Have access to, everything so far that we know about.
Yep, and it looks like Gem is now doing the little rounds here with the frog, and then probably gonna bring back the purple chest as well.
That's entirely reasonable. So I expect AA here to go into Thieves Town and then potentially check the bat and then maybe head north side.
Yeah, that would be good routing and very fortunate for him. He really kind of needs to get to that graveyard ledge sooner rather than later.
So those flippers also give them access to the east side of Dark World, where they can check the pyramid, catfish, and of course, a decent portion of the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, and I think Palace of Darkness might be their next destination, at least for Gem. After he's done with his little round trip here.
That does seem like a play that Jim could make. Jim picks up those silver arrows, gonna make anything vulnerable to arrows just melt. And here we go. So AA will be heading into the back of Thieves Town, unlike Gem, so we can see what's back here a little bit. He can clear out Thieves Town. It's the green pendant, could be important.
Yeah, and you can pretty much check everything with the exception of that big chest right now. And considering there's only 2 items left, he has a pretty good chance of not needing to check that.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, we know that there's only a one. Let's see. So the big chest cannot have the remaining small key. So there's only a 1 in 3 chance that it's not required. Or that it doesn't have an item.
Yeah, the chances aren't great.
Perhaps my mic is really loud.
Perhaps. I don't think I can change too much on my side. I think my volume is already maxed out, so maybe the Fiesel can turn me up a little bit if I am indeed too quiet.
Alright, so Jim, after checking the purple chest, goes over to check Agnes Cave, which is a pretty good call, and then he is going to head... Oh wait, are we going to have a swamp play?
Nah, he's chicken hide.
No, that'd be dumb. You don't have the hammer, why would you go into swamp?
That would be crazy. That would be a crazy gamble. Imagine that working out.
Yeah. See, the thing is, the swamp play there, it takes a little bit of time, but since you're there and it's right on the way, if that's the hammer, it's huge. So if you're a sort of a novice looking for a way to get ahead that nobody else will do, you might try that.
Interesting find for AA here, though, in the maiden chest. He grabbed the book, which gives him access to desert.
Oh, book time. We have literacy. Now, Desert Palace, of course, is a crystal, but we don't know what is required to beat it yet. We don't know if we need the boots or not. And it looks like we do have an item in the big chest.
Yeah, certainly looks like they had to leave one behind there.
So that's going to be sort of haunting AA in the back of his mind for the rest of this run. He's going to go check, I'm thinking, the magic bat as well.
Gem is now swimming his way over to Eastern Palace, to Pod.
Fuchsia Fantasy, you can get into desert with Titan's Mirror and Flute. You have to have the flute to get to that portal.
So we'll have to see if Gem manages to stumble across the flute somewhere. Missing out on the book won't be the worst thing, but if the book is indeed for now our only way to get into desert, and it holds something important, this will probably give AA quite the huge leg up.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, AA did not do what I thought he might do, which is go to the North Dark World, so he still doesn't have those flippers.
Yeah, and this book is definitely leading him to desert, so he's gonna finish that up if he can. As you mentioned, we might need the boots first.
I feel like AA may have squandered an opportunity here to check the Bombos tablet on the way in.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
He has the book and he has the mirror. Oh, well, he couldn't actually get it. He could check it, though.
Yeah, I mean, information is almost as important as actually getting it, so... I would have liked the play. I don't blame him for not thinking about it right now, or maybe not doing it on purpose. But, yeah, I wouldn't have... I would have been quite a fan of that. You know, the more information you have over your opponent, the better you can plan your routing and if you have to come back here or not.
Yep, so AA, heading through desert, we will see if we are boots locked. We'll be able to determine that pretty soon, right after he opens this chest. That's a small key, so actually we don't know yet. So, scratch what I just said. If the big key is not over here on the right-hand side, then we are boots locked. I believe it was AA himself who told me this, that, and there's a big key. He told me that desert has an exactly 50% chance of being boots locked. Oh, the flute is in desert!
Oh, man. That is real bad for Gem right now.
Because Gem is heading into Palace of Darkness without the hammer, and that could be huge.
This also means the only way for us to get into desert is the book, because if you find the flute in here, there's no way for you to flute to the mire area and then mirror back.
Yeah, so this all came down to Gem's decision to not go into Thieves Town past the first 4 chests. AmazingAmpharos finds the Ether Medallion as well inside desert, so that could be important. We don't know, but it could be important.
Yeah,
and
sorry, I was just going to say, if the chat is to be believed, he can now get into Turtle Rock.
Ah. All right. And I expect AmazingAmpharos to go and finish off Lanmolas while he is here. Yeah, no problem there. So yeah, that Thieves Town gamble the Gem made, sadly not paying off.
Yeah, so far it looks like he left exactly the wrong chests behind. I'm not really sure what might make him go back. Maybe if he doesn't find any progression anywhere else, but the chances of that are pretty slim with what he still has open.
Yeah, if he finds the hammer anywhere, he'll probably go back. I would think, maybe.
I don't know, since it's a pendant too. It is the green pendant, as you say, but I'm trying to keep my hopes up. But right now, I think it's kind of bad for Gem.
Yeah, and you can't get that flute any other way. You have to have the book. You can't get into desert without the flute or the book. So that's huge. Gem setting up for the hammer jump, and there it is.
Just a burrito in the big chest. Let's see what those 2 chests here in the dark maze that is not so dark anymore have for us. A fighter shield.
Hammer jump is the trick I'm working on trying to figure out right now.
Yeah, I should maybe work on that sometime. I don't know. I have no faith in myself.
Yeah, mainly I'm doing it for key sanity mode. because if you can do the hammer jump, you can clear out Palace of Darkness with only 4 keys, and there are 6 in the world, so it lets you look for less.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we see, AmazingAmpharos has the flute. We're going to unlock this. It looks like it might be time for today's Swag Duck Anthem. This will be off from the audio, I can tell you right now. It's the Swag Duck again, and to AA and Gem, I hope that this seed can be quite nicer. But to the viewers I say, if you want to stay sane, don't ever play AA's Randomizer.
Yay! Alright, and AA immediately putting the flute to good use, fluting over to the mire area, or rather to where it gets him, and Gem is making that Ice Palace play with that bombo she just grabbed.
Oh boy. Gem heading into Ice Palace. Again, no hammer. So, a good portion of this place is also blocked off.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Gem can grab out of here. Hopefully something good.
Looks like Misery Mire requires the Quake Medallion, and there's the hammer in Mire Shed. Once again, the Thieves' Town gamble just leading the right direction.
Yeah, looks like leaving all those chests behind in Thieves' Town really hurt Gem.
Now, we still do need the Quake Medallion, which has not been located, but we do have the boots.
Just keeps getting better and better for AA here. He's grabbing everything he can.
Oh. So it's that one decision. That one decision that made all the difference here today. Two roads diverged in a Thieves' Town, and AA took the one less traveled by. And that made all the difference. So, AA now heading into Palace of Darkness, and we'll be able to finish it out.
Yeah, with that hammer in hand, he can full clear everything.
And he finds 20 rupees from Sahasrara today. So the green pendant, not that important.
At least that green pendant won't haunt Gem. He's already, quote-unquote, lost enough items by not checking the maiden chest, but at least the green pendant won't be one of them.
Yep. I mean, Gem, I like to commend Gem for, sticking to his gamble. That's generally the right strategy. If you're going to make a gamble, stick to it until you can't. But, in this case, it's just not paying off. The hammer was in the Mire Shed, so you needed the flute to get to the Mire Shed. To get to the flute, you needed the book, and that was in the back side of Thieves' Town, which Gem skipped and AA did not. So that is where we are right now.
Yeah, and sadly for Gem, he is setting himself up for a forced double dip here because he will not be able to complete Ice Palace.
Yep, he'll be able to check the iced tea room and then the spike room chest, and I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other 2 items on the right-hand side, as well as Cold Stare himself, are in fact hammer-locked in Ice Palace. There is an item in the Thieves' Town big chest. We do not know what it is.
that item in the Town chest is something super important that we need. Oh, very nice bomb jump there from Jim. Doesn't want to deal with that ice floor at all.
That is a nice bomb jump. We find the inferior boomerang in the iced tea room.
But yeah, what I was gonna say is if that TT big chest does have an important item, that might give Jem a chance to catch back up, because both he and AA will have to go back into well, now that I think about it, that's wrong, because he won't get the hammer before dipping back into Thieves Town. So he'll have to triple dip it if it's an important item.
Yeah, if the Thieves Town big chest is important, it's a guaranteed triple dip for Jem. Ugh. Does not feel good to be Jem right now.
Nope, absolutely not.
And sadly, he doesn't even know it.
Oh, they already got all 4 items? I apologize, little raging man in chat.
Really? There were 2 in the first 4 chests. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the back, there had to be the small key. And the compass was on blind. Then there's the maiden chest with the book. I mean, I mean, unless there were 3 items in the first 4 chests, then I don't see how that's possible. I could be smoking something, but I think Jem might be going in. He might be doing it.
Yeah, looks like he's on his way back there, which is a good decision for him.
Yeah, the small key can be in the first 4, I just don't know if it was.
Apparently we missed a bomb upgrade in the skylight room, which was the 4th item.
Oh, okay. I get it. Okay, they used the small key on the door. That's why I thought they had the small key.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Alright. Sorry about that. I'm just used to going down and grabbing the small key in the pot and then coming back. But they didn't do that. Or AA didn't do that.
Yeah, we got it all figured out. We're just humans too. We're not robots.
I out-logicked myself.
So no, Jem will be on a great way once he picks up that book. I'm sure he'll immediately go back to desert, find his flute, then go to the mire area. Basically, just do what AA just did. And he did waste some time running around a little bit, checking ice palace and everything, but he's still ahead for the flippers. And with what AA has right now, he's definitely going to go dungeon hunting before he checks that graveyard ledge.
Yeah, I would think so. He knows. He's a sort of a master of the logic, and he knows that usually the dungeons are going to hold a little more value. But unfortunately, those flippers, which are all important for getting into Swamp, are on the graveyard ledge. At least you won't check Ice Palace looking for them.
That is very true.
You may check Ice Palace looking for something else, such as the Cane of Samaria, which we have not found.
Yeah, he could definitely.
Or the Fire Rod. But if we get down to the flippers and that's all he's missing, he will not check Ice Palace for it.
No, he definitely won't.
So we've got AA beating the snot out of Helmasaur with a hammer.
While Jem grabbing his book.
Alright, so the book has been acquired by Jem. He will be able to make his way to Desert Palace.
Yeah, he's gonna finish off blind. I don't blame him. Doesn't want to leave the green pendant behind because, you know, you never know what that gives you. He already had to double dip into here. He doesn't want to come back a third time.
Now both runners still rocking the fighter sword today, which they got from the uncle. So they will be needing another sword upgrade as well.
Yeah, we're definitely not quite there yet. They found quite a lot of items already, but we're still missing a couple.
So that's 1 hour into the run. And still no sign of go mode yet. They're going to need the Quake Medallion, they're going to need the Cane of Samaria, they're going to need the Fire Rod, and they're going to need another sword upgrade. AA, of course, is going to need the flippers. And Gem is going to need the hammer. And the flute. Which, luckily, he'll be getting the flute soon.
Yeah, which will inevitably lead into the hammer right away, and also the boots, hopefully.
I feel like we may be getting our first catfish check.
Yeah, it definitely looks like AA is going that way.
Yep. You might see catfish into Northside Dark World. I doubt that, but it's possible. We could have Vanilla Quake Medallion. That would be fun.
Huh, that could be a thing. What would be the first vanilla item this seed?
Oh, we got Master Sword. That'll do it.
That's just as good, I'd say.
Yeah, in fact, Master Sword, not only does it unlock actually beating the game, but it also unlocks a couple of item locations, specifically the tablets, now that we have the book as well. And AA is actually going back. We might get the North Dark World check, and he might be picking up the flippers.
Yeah, might be grabbing his flippers finally, which means he'll be a few items ahead of Gem, but not very much time-wise, I guess.
Yep, so we're gonna do Graveyard Ledge check first, it looks like. And then we might do King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks while we're at it. I like the play of doing Graveyard Ledge first, because it's the only time he has to mirror if he does this. I don't think every item in Ice was gotten. I didn't actually count as he was going through.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I think there's at least one item left in there.
Yeah, I know he didn't open all the chests, that's for sure.
Yeah, he had no chance.
Okay, Shovel in King's Tomb.
Some fetch questing.
And Gem will finally be able to unlock his swag duck. There's not going to be another song, but there it is for you. And AA finds the Fire Rod in Bonk Rocks!
Oh, man. That's also
so once again, the flute locking that as well. I think at this point, if you're a fan of Gem, you want to hope for something like Quake in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I mean, Gem is kind of starting to pick back up, I'd say. He's grabbing all the items here, gonna be grabbing his hammer, then he's probably gonna be grabbing his boots. Let's hope he checks the Bonk Rock soon-ish. But right now, AA definitely ahead.
All right. So Jim finally picks up his hammer, and that will lead him, hopefully, in the proper direction. Alright, so AA is going to go fight Mothula.
Yeah, well, Jim decides to finish off Land Molas first before checking Checkerboard Cave.
Yep. I think that's the way AA did it as well. So no real problems there. Mothula, you want to, I believe go kill Mothula first is the correct strat here. Mainly because if it has the item, you don't have to go back in for the chest.
Yeah, exactly. Walking down to that chest. Oh man, what a nice full magic refill here for AA. That'll make that'll make the fight a little more bearable.
Yep. So now we need to make contact with Mothula several times. 4 spins with the Master Sword will take it down, as well as 8 slashes or 8 fire rod shots. As long as they connect and he doesn't get knocked into a spike. There you go.
Yeah, very nicely done. Grabs his item, the fire shield, so he does not have to go back in here.
Yep, so that'll be a real quick check. Now, here's the question. Do we see a pedestal check?
I think since we're already here, might as well, right?
I mean, it does seem like the sort of thing you might want to see. A little bit of intelligence, and AA is going to troll us all and say nope.
Oh man, I was so ready for it when he mirrored, but nope. Going straight to Ice Palace.
Yep. About the only important thing that can be there right now. Quake Medallion can be there. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think other than Quake is what I mean. That's about it.
Alright, Jim, going to pick up those boots.
Saves and quits, hopefully right to the Sanctuary. Yep, looking good. So he's going to be checking out King's Tomb and the Bonk Rocks.
Yep. Now we know that there was an item in the iced tea room. It was the red boomerang. A lot of people like to skip that room if they can when checking Ice Palace. So hopefully it won't mess with AA. We've got the big key in the first chest in Ice Palace. 1 second.
So Jem just finishing up here, grabbing his shovel as well. I'm curious to see where he goes next. He's gonna be a short sword for now anyways, until he decides to either check the Quakefish himself or maybe runs across one somewhere else. I mean, there's still 2 sword upgrades somewhere out in this world. So Jem is heading back to the Dark World here. Probably also gonna finish up Skullwoods right away, is what I'd be guessing. I hope he's not tempted. Wait, no, he's definitely not tempted to go back into TT because we already determined that the big chest doesn't have anything.
Alright, I have returned. Sorry about that, I had a little bit of student aggro.
Haven't really missed anything. Jem just immediately decided to also finish up Skullwoods, which is a good decision, I'd say.
I got there in time to see AA's Ice Palace bomb jump. Because Ice Palace bomb jump is a pretty nice trick. Kind of want to. It's kind of thing you want to learn if you're planning on doing Randomizer, or just Zelda's Link to the Past speedruns in general. It's one of the most useful tricks you can do.
Yeah, definitely one of the first tricks I learned, just because it's so convenient and it can save you an insane amount of time in Ice Palace.
Alright, so Jim did not get the lucky magic drop from Mothula, but he's going to be doing hammer strats. Those are fun.
Yeah.
Hammer strats, you get 4 hits and he's down, assuming they all connect and count. And those did.
Very nice. Grabbing his fire shield and his crystal as well, so we'll have to see what he decides for now.
Will we see Jim getting that piece of information about the pedestal? I don't know what the message for Quake is on the pedestal. It'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure myself.
Oh, it's happening.
It is happening. He's indeed checking. And this will be huge if it indeed is. Nope. Just
Increase bomb storage, low price. No thank you. So AA playing the odds and coming out on top.
Looks like Jen deciding to check back into pod here. Finishing that up.
Apparently the pedestal says something about the Richter scale when you have Quake. I thought the Richter scale was something for, like, Castlevania.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Alright, so AA does check the iced tea room. Finds that red boomerang. And he will likely go and destroy some freezing puffballs. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, those puffballs are not to be trifled with, I'd say.
Indeed. And there's another small key there in the big chest. Let's see what Cold Stare has.
Yeah, I think, unless I'm totally crazy, he's got to hold an item, right?
Yeah, I mean, I might not have seen every item, but I think I only saw 2.
Alright, AA going for the Bombo strats here because he doesn't have quite full magic, which you need if you're only going to be using the Fire Rod here, unless you have half magic, of course.
Right, and you know, I tend to prefer Bombo strats just because it's easier.
Yeah.
A little slower. I think it's slower by like maybe half a second.
It's not a huge difference, and I quite like the Bombos just because it makes it easy and convenient. The ice shell is gone, and then you can just deal with the rest.
And AA Hammer Strats takes it down, and it's got the cape, the magic cape.
Well, we already saw the bumper ledge, but this opens up Spike Cave. So...
Spike Cave, indeed. Also, technically unlocks the spike chest in Misery Mire, so that might be another thing that is weighing on their mind, but of course they can't even get into Misery Mire.
Yeah, still looking for that last medallion.
So yeah, the logic now says you can get to Spike Cave.
Okay, gonna check out that dig spot. I'm gonna assume he'll soon be making his way into Swamp just because he's really kind of running out of options.
Yeah. I know that AA, when given the chance, will save Swamp Palace for last. Because the way it's set up, it's very low probability.
Yeah, plus who doesn't love go modding Swamp Palace?
Right. So, AA as we expected, is going to probably make that swamp play.
I'd also be thinking about that tablet that you were mentioning earlier.
Oh yeah, Bombo's tablet. Certainly a possibility. He may check that first. Doesn't look like it though. Swamp has a much higher density of items than the Bombo's tablet.
And it looks like Gem is heading back into Ice Palace, so he is just finishing off all those dungeons that he dipped into before.
Now the big bomb, unfortunately, is not a possibility yet because we need to clear Swamp to do that. Because Swamp has crystal number 6, if I'm not mistaken. Or 5. It's one of those two. AA just doing some slashing on the water strider things, like water tektites, I think is what they're called. Which is weird, but sure. And just making his way in. That first chest always guaranteed to be a small key, and now we've got the big key.
That's a very convenient big key location.
For those of you unfamiliar with Key Sanity, that is not guaranteed to be a small key in Key Sanity. Almost every race, somebody tries to walk into Swamp and realizes they can't get anywhere.
Yeah, it could be a little bit confusing since keys under pots and keys on enemies aren't randomized in Key Sanity, but this key is unfortunately in a chest, and those are 100% randomized.
Alright, so AmazingAmpharos making some water happen here in Swamp Palace, and he'll be heading into the main room. He can pick up the big chest here anytime. He may save that for when he actually heads to the back, but that may happen immediately as far as I know.
Yeah, it could definitely be. I mean, oh.
Well, first he's going to head down to what I think is the compass chest in the original game.
I believe so.
One of these days I'll just play through the original game again to realize where everything is.
Alright, so there's one item, not something we want, a red rupee, but it is an item.
Alright, so there's 50 rupees, and AA will be heading to the back first. Because if he finds that Quake Medallion, or that Cane of Samaria, or both, he will want to not do the left side. And of course, if he doesn't find the map or compass, we know what's on the left side. There's the riot shield and 20 rupees.
Looks like Swamp having a whole bunch of money. That shield really makes me think of Carol Rock again. Of course, without the cane, no, but
50 rupees, and so we are down to map, compass, and the final item here in Swamp Palace. So if Argus drops an item, AA will have found the rare Swamp Palace that does not require the West Wing whatsoever. Alright, so we've got Master Sword Argus strats. You just pull the puffball, slash it twice. Takes a little bit of time for it to become vulnerable to the second slash. You could also do a spin. That would kill it in one shot, but the spin's going to take just as long, if not longer.
Gem really giving Cold Stare the watch for here with the hammer, also grabbing his cape.
And AA with the amazing silver arrow shot. There's the compass on Argus, so there is an item on the left side of Swamp. And AA's going back for it. I do not blame him. You don't want to leave something just lying around.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good to go back here, especially to the left side for just one item, but with what they're still looking for, you definitely don't want to leave anything behind anymore.
Personally, I'm a fan of AA's rupee count at the moment.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier when you picked up those 50 rupees. Almost getting that 1,000, but he's not quite giving us that pleasure.
So Gem, looks like Gem will be following in AA's footsteps here. As AA makes his way to the west wing of Swamp. It's going to take a little bit of time to get through here. You got to go grab that key from underneath, then go back around and throw the switch to flood the water, and then come back after throwing the crystal switch again so that you can get the 2 chests on the left side.
Yeah, a little bit annoying. This is why everyone likes to skip the left side if they have any possibility to do so. It's just a whole bunch of time wasted, basically.
I believe Gem is just straight behind.
Yeah.
I think most of the things have been checked for both players. The only difference is Gem had to do a lot of double dips that AA did not.
Alright, so AA is coming up on those 2 chests that are still left. As we know, still 1 item at large, so let's see what he can grab out of here.
And we've got the map, so the last chest has the last item. What is it? Everybody get your hype machine ready. Oh, big 20, jebaited.
Just a red rupee. So if Jen decides to skip left side and gamble on it, he will be able to make up some time here.
Yep, jebaited by Swamp Palace in its entirety. The only reasonable item being the mirror shield.
Yeah, and even that's something our runners really don't necessarily need.
And another big 20 from the Bombos tablet, so just a whole lot of diddly today. And AA, I think he's going to Spike Cave. Nope, he's going somewhere else. Ice Rod Cave?
Dark World.
No, it's Dark World. Oh, Fat Fairy.
Yeah, of course. The Pyramid Fairy. He just unlocked it by defeating Argus, so that's his next stop.
Yeah, so definitely Big Bomb, Pyramid Fairy Shop. That's definitely the next play to make.
Alright, so let's see here. Assuming the Pyramid Fairy has nothing, what do we have left? Do we even have anything left? We have Turtle Rock left in its entirety.
Well, Spike Cave.
Yes.
Ether Tablet. I don't know if either player checked Ice Rod Cave.
Gem checked, and
Okay.
It was a heart piece, I believe.
Okay, I know AA did not, so... Eastern Palace has been cleared out. They just never actually finished it. There's no reason to. There's the Cane of Samaria and the Tempered Sword. So that's a semi-vanilla sword as well.
Alright, so if Gem decides to immediately check the Pyramid Fairy instead of doing left side, he'll be in okay-ish shape, I guess.
AA, I will tell you that he has quite a treasure there in that cane of Samaria. Just letting you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so AA is heading up to Turtle Rock, looks like.
Yeah, I mean, he might decide to check the tablet here before he actually goes in. But, well, we'll have to see. Now, I'm keeping an eye on Jim here.
That's painful.
Oh, man. And Jem is indeed skipping the left side, so that's very, very good for him. Hanging well, opening up Turtle Rock. As I said, he might opt to check Spike Cave and maybe the tablet before actually going in. He might also just dive in if he wants to.
Yep, he's going in. I feel like I'd have done Ether Tablet. I'd have gone up the other direction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I probably would have too, but AA, as you were saying earlier, one of those guys, he usually tries to route his way through the seed in a way where he gets to the most item-dense areas first, and Turtle Rock, definitely an item-dense area, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, you can even see a microcosm of this as AA is heading to the fire rod room first instead of the other room on the south because there's more items there. So it's a higher likelihood that he gets the Quake Medallion.
We're seeing another beautiful bomb dupe here from Gem, leaving it before the hammer packs on the bridge, just dashing up and then to the left and screen transitioning just as the timer hits 0. Duping the bomb, making it appear right behind him.
Nice. There's the cane of Brian. So Brian, if you're watching, we found your cane. You should come get it.
There's the cane for Gem as well as the long-needed sword upgrade.
So Gem will be heading up Death Mountain. Let's see if he goes to Ether Tablet first. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh man, this could be huge. If this turns out to be Quake, everything's turned around all of a sudden. Might also check the Spike Cave as well.
Yeah, Spike Cave also a possibility. Alright, so on the Ether Tablet we have a big heart.
Ah, bummer.
So no Quake there. Will we go to Spike Cave? We are going to Spike Cave.
Okay, so this could also be something. Both locations that AA opted to not check before dipping into Turtle Rock. Jim probably well aware of that.
Yeah, that does seem like the sort of thing you do. You generally want to study your opponent's playstyle before you go into these matches, and I don't think either player has neglected to do that. And the red mail found in the Spike Cave, so once again, not required, not the worst, but it does look like Quake has got to be somewhere here in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, sadly, that almost guarantees Quake to be in Turtle Rock, so AA will have a little bit of a lead here. About 3/4 of the dungeon, maybe?
Yeah. We'll see if he checks Mimic Cave. Looks like it.
Definitely looks like it.
I don't see why you wouldn't. Just looking for one item. If it happens to be here, you're gonna kick yourself.
Yeah, at this point, you definitely don't want to leave anything behind.
And it's Quake!
Oh,
Quake in the
man.
Mimic Cave. And AmazingAmpharos has reached that mythical state we call Go Mode.
Yep, just shortly before the 1 hour 30-minute mark, he finds his last item and is going to be fluting over to the mire area immediately.
At this point, all he has to do is find the big key in mire, go kill Vitreous, and then make his way back up to Ganon's Tower to finish off the game. We see Gem entering Turtle Rock roughly at the same time that AmazingAmpharos is opening up Misery Mire. What Mimic Cave glitch? I think it's probably a major glitch. I think you would have to clip through something, and that's not allowed in this particular category.
Yeah, that would unfortunately disqualify him, and while it looks like he won't be winning this race, I don't think disqualifying yourself is the way to go.
Right. Unless somebody's already done and then just knock yourself out.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if your opponent's already done, do as you wish.
Have fun, show off. You know. Alright, so AA makes his way down to the bridge chest. What do we find? Half magic. Alright.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yep. Of course, AA hoping for the big key there. But that's not what he finds.
Oh, but it's sadly not the God Mire, but we will have to see where that big key's hiding.
How about there?
Alright, it's still the God Mire. The small and the big key just kind of changed places in a way.
Yeah, if you'd have gone right first, it would have been the God Mire.
Still, I'm sure we're not going to get any complaints from AA about this Mire.
Oh, yeah. So AA, not even bothering to get the magic refill. Why would you? You've got half magic and plenty of it.
Yeah, as well as those silver arrows and tempered sword, those little eyeballs won't even stand a chance.
Oh, yeah. I expect to see some machine gun silvers here in a minute. Another thing is AA did not end up flipping the crystal switch, so he doesn't have to flip the switch in that room. Which is something you sometimes forget if you're go-moding through mire.
Mm-hmm.
So the butter sword, if the butter sword is found by one player but not the other, it's not going to make that much difference between them. But if we find the butter sword at some point along the way, that means Gem will have tempered. So that will make a huge difference.
Yeah, the difference between Master Sword and Tempered Sword is huge. Compared to the difference between Tempered and Butter, it's just unbelievable how much difference it really makes.
So the third sword is a catfish, which is unfortunate for Gem. He's not going to go to catfish.
No, he's already getting ready to check out Mimic Cave. He's going to be grabbing his cane, so he has no reason to go to catfish at all. Basically, the sword upgrade needs to be on the way.
And that is our 7th crystal, so I know what time it is.
Yep, you want to do the honors?
It is time for the big key guessing game. So, if you know anything about Ganon's Tower, there are 22 locations in which the big key can reside. You need the big key to reach the top of Ganon's Tower, and that's all you basically need. So, we like to do a little guessing game as to where you think it is. There's 22 of them, and also apparently there was butter on Vitreous.
Alright, so that's a sword upgrade on the way, I say.
Yeah. There we go. So Gem will have the tempered sword. That will be a little easier. But yes, the big key guessing game, 22 locations. Type your number in chat, 1 to 22. If you are a supporter of the channel or the Speed Gaming Network via a subscription to any of the Speed Gaming channels or 250 bits or more, you can be entered to our leaderboard, our illustrious leaderboard. And so there's that. We will be stopping this as soon as AA enters Ganon's Tower on our screen, so get your numbers in quickly. And thanks for that subscription there.
Yeah, thank you, Paytex7, for subscribing. Alright, Gem is also making his way back to Vitrius now, while AA is entering the Ganon's Tower.
And that will end the guessing game, as AmazingAmpharos starts on the right-hand side. 2 chests over here, let's see what we get. We have a small key, and another small key, which means the right side play could happen, but it's not. AA is heading to the left side. That does seem like a rather AA thing to do.
Yeah, probably one of the only runners not deciding to go right side once he finds a small key. We get a third small key on the torch.
Rip me, everybody. And as we head west, we now picked up a 4th small key, and we head into the Stalfos room. 4 chests in here and 3 Stalfos that you want to kill to get back out, unless you are doing a certain strategy, which involves mirroring out of here. But because AA is doing the killing, I don't think that's going to happen. But he found the big key right there in chest number 7.
Oh man, so close.
So congratulations to Fat Man's Panda for that being the first correct guess. That is a first correct eligible guess. And now we see AmazingAmpharos making his way up the tower.
Yep, making short work of those 2 mimic rooms here while Gem grabs his last crystal.
Alright, so AA making his way through the gauntlet. Very quick first room. That's actually one of the more annoying rooms in the gauntlet, actually. It's the very first one.
Yeah, it's, you'd think since it's the first one it won't be so bad, but all of these guys control you horribly if they want to.
Yep. Great third room as well, and into the 4th room. This room, usually fairly simple when you have the boots. You can stab the red Zazak as he heads by. Now this 5th room with the ice on the floor, that room is garbage. That room is actual garbage. Ooh, getting trolled a little bit by Landmollas too.
Oh man, not having much luck here, but still quite a bit ahead, so shouldn't be too much trouble.
Now, if you're a fan of Gem, you want to see Gem not come anywhere near his Cane of Samaria as he heads to the right-hand side.
Yeah, you'd hope so, but I have a feeling we will see a right side from Gem.
Yep. So he goes right side. We're going to check the first 2 chests, and he might cane to get those next 4. That would be a bit of a setback. And it looks like he's doing it. So that's once again unfortunate for Gem. But hopefully this won't take too long and he can go in to the left side right after this.
Another short thing to mention, just because I'm seeing it brought up for in chat for a second time here. Jem has skipped the half magic on the bridge. He apparently went right immediately and grabbed the big key and wire as his first item and then just went straight to the boss.
Well, that's nice. It's not outside the realm of possibility.
He saved some time, but it's gonna be a little shorter on magic. Not that it should be a problem at all, but you know.
Yep. At this time, I believe chat likes to discuss Dairy Queen.
Yeah, I've always kind of wondered what that was all about.
Though some people say it's Dragon Quest, and I'm okay with both of those things. So there you go.
That works.
AmazingAmpharos now making his way into the Aga 2 fight. Gets a little trolled by the formation, gets 1 on the first try.
Oh, this is a very nice setup. Oh, but it's a blue ball.
Oh, this could be good or bad. It's bad, but he gets 1.
At least he gets one there, yeah. That was an interesting Aga setup, though. Ooh. I've never seen them be in formation like that.
Gets a little trolled there by that particular run, but gets a double on the next one. That's going to leave 1 more hit. And there it goes. So we have a 1-1-1-1-0-2-1, I believe. And AmazingAmpharos takes down Aghanim 2.
Yep, gets picked up by the swag duck here, and now it just needs to drop down this neat little hole that the huge bat makes.
Alright, time to face off against Ganon. So Butter Sword, Ganon, very easy to pull off. You need 6 hits for each of the first 2 phases, which AA has already taken care of. And there's the second phase starting. Second phase does not start until the trident starts spinning.
Apparently Ganon getting a little bit of deja vu here. I can't blame him. We've seen that guy drop into the hole and fight Ganon quite a bunch of times already.
Yep, we have had just an amazing number of tournament matches in this particular tournament and the secondary tournament. Matches for days. And we see AA fighting his way through phase 3. Not very many Ganon teleports today.
Nope, gets that first hit in and immediately goes for the torch glitch, so unfortunately a little bit of a unfortunate setup for him here, but
gets a double there. And this should finish him off. There we go. And AA takes down Ganon. As we see him walk through the final door, his official SRL time is 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 15 seconds. Congratulations to AmazingAmpharos on his win. And apparently B-Torp was here, everybody.
GG to AA on the first win in this best of 3. We will be getting him in for an interview as far as I know, but AA wants to shut off his stream because he has trouble with his microphone quality if his stream is still running, so we'll have to wait a couple minutes for his stats to show up and get through, and then I'm sure we'll get him in here.
Indeed. So, Jem is now making his way to Trolldorm 2, so not a whole lot of time separating these 2 runners. And Jem will also be leaving behind the final chest, so no satisfying our curiosity today.
Nope, we won't find out what's in there.
right. So, Gem having a little bit better time with these Aga 2 balls. But getting trolled by that one.
It sounds like a mafia name.
Aga 2 balls, yeah. Yeah, so the main thing that that caused this problem was Gem dipped into Thieves Town, got the first 4 chests, and left. And that left the book in the basement. And that book unlocked everything else.
Gem sadly forced quite a bunch of double dips on himself, thanks to what you just explained. And, that really cost him.
So these two have scheduled a match at the same time every day for the next 3 days. So the next match between these two runners will be tomorrow at the same time.
Yep, tune in again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern for the second match of these guys, and then, as you were saying, on Wednesday, there will be the match number 3 if it should be required.
Indeed. And we see AmazingAmpharos starting to fast forward through his credits so that we can get in here a little faster.
Yep, just wants to take a quick look at his stats. Meanwhile, Gem having a pretty good time here with the Ganon fight, finishing him off as well.
Wow. I basically blinked and it was done.
Yeah, that was super quick. And Gem's comment immediately after dot downing is, "I blame the Red Jelly Mafia."
Ah. Those are the ones that are keeping Blind in the cell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course also GG to Gem, considering how everything went, definitely a very good game from him still. I feel like this could go to game 3 easily.
Oh yeah, both of these runners have excellent strengths at this game. You can see that AmazingAmpharos pulled off a great run with excellent routing and making sure he knew exactly where he was going next. And Gem, his execution almost caught him up, you know?
Yeah, skipping the left side swamp was good, and his execution on the rest of it really caught him up quite well. A little bit unfortunate that he decided to check the right side in Ganon's tower. That cost him a little bit of time in the end. But other than that, definitely an amazing showing from both of these guys.
Alright, 3:10 menu time for AmazingAmpharos. It's pretty good.
Alright, we got Gem here, so I'm gonna bring him in.
Alright.
Hello there, Gem. GG.
Thanks.
I'm sure you're well aware of where you lost the time.
Yeah, I am.
Hang on, let me bring AA, and he's here as well, so we can have you both discuss the seed. Hello, AA, GG, and congrats on your win.
Well, thanks. That was a very, very linear seed.
I was.
Indeed.
I think Gem might disagree with you.
But yeah, GG. I went into Hammerless IP before finishing Thieves Town.
So did you check North of Grave early, or did you sequence break it?
I went there early. And then I went to Port first, and then to IP, and then finally back to TT.
Yeah, I didn't check that area north of the graveyard until relatively late. It was kind of convenient because I did it with boots, so I got fire rod at the same time. But even then, that was not the end of my woes because, you know, the seed just kind of strung me along one item at a time. Full clear a couple more dungeons, and the last random place would have the next item, and just, you know, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all down to that Thieves Town play. Skipping out on the back end, sadly, leaving that book behind and keeping you from basically the rest of the seed at that point.
Yeah, we were saying that if you manage to find the flute somewhere, it isn't that big of a deal. But then we saw on AA stream that the book locked the flute, so we were like, okay, this is pretty bad.
I'm going to tell you, the moment of the seed that threw me the most was when I walked into the Mire region and saw the Quake was the medallion there. That I did not even expect a little.
Oh yeah, after finding 2 medallions already, you see that you actually need the 3rd one.
Yeah. Why did they
Especially because I was convinced that Hammer was going to be in Mire itself. When it was in the Mire shed, I was like, well, okay, I guess we can play this game. And then get all of these 0 required items from Pod, Ice, and Swamp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim actually made the right call and skipped the left side of Swamp, so that helped.
Yeah, I knew I was behind after double dipping Pod and IP. So.
But I
had
mean,
to
you
make
needed 20
something.
more rupees, right?
And what? Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I went back into Swamp largely because, you know, I was down to a tiny handful of spots left. You know, after Swamp, I had the Bombos Monolith Super Bomb. Super Bomb turned out to be the answer, but if that had been a bust, I had Bumper Cave plus Hammer Pegs, Ether Monolith plus Spike Cave, and if all that was wrong, then Quake was in Ice Rod Cave and Dot Dun was coming any moment.
But yeah, it was exciting to watch, and I do have to give props to Jem because considering how many double dips you forced on yourself, you still caught up quite nicely at the end there. You could have made it even closer if you did what AA did in GT, which is grab the 2 chests on the right and then go left. So the old school route, I want to call it.
Yeah, I just never have the balls to gamble in DT.
Yeah, that's very understandable, I think.
Speaking of balls, can we talk about that Aga 2 fight? That was
yeah, that
actual
pattern was
garbage.
horrible. I know you could do better than a 6 cycle, but well, that's not even subtle. You can obviously do better than a 6 cycle, but I would be impressed if anyone got under 4 on it.
Yeah, and I don't think Jim did either. It was an awful pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like from my perspective, like the seed's really linear. I know how Jim routes GT. He doesn't believe in traditional route. He believes in this silly take the key, go right thing. So I probably gained a little time there, but
Yeah,
man, 6 cycling Aga 2 is that time right there, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that was an excellent race, and I enjoyed every second of it. And I hope everybody else here did too.
Yeah,
So-
I'd be very surprised if they didn't.
So you guys have another match tomorrow, I'm told,
Yep.
and then potentially Wednesday, depending on how that goes.
No,
Yeah,
no,
we're
it's-
just going to
it's
keep
guaranteed.
playing matches at the same time until one of us is knocked out. It seems like a plan.
You'll just play another one on Thursday for no reason.
Hey, there could be a tie.
Hey, that is possible.
Yeah, very true.
We have had a tie in one of the tournaments before, so that'll be fun. All right, so is there anything you guys want to say to the public about this seed or anything else you want to shout out?
Yes, Pendant Thiefstone is the worst. Just saying.
I mean, here's what I would say about Pinned in Thieves Town. I dislike it so much that I cleared most of the Dark World I had access to, everywhere but North of Grave, before I went in. But that did give me the confidence going in that I probably needed something out of it, if not the Green Pendant.
Yeah. I
Right.
should have just gotten in that instead of city IP gambles. They never work out.
Yep. So, I also noticed your file names at the beginning, AA, about entrance. I love me some entrance rando. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I gotta spread awareness. A little personally invested in the entrance randomizer.
Yep. That entrance key sanity the other night was a thing of beauty. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the words I would use for it, but sure.
I mean, you learn so much about this game every time you play Entrance Key Sanity. For instance, I learned the strats to do the TR laser bridge with bombs. It's just beautiful.
Whoa.
Sounds like a
I didn't even
pleasure.
think about that. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. I want to thank AA and Jim again for their run, and this was an excellent run on both cases. I would like to thank our tracker / trackers. I believe we had Rywek in there doing some tracking, and
Yeah.
something else. Like, I think somebody else joined halfway through.
Yeah, we first had Rywek to help us out real quickly, and then we had Michael Bolt join us to finish up the tracking.
Exactly. So that was good on them. Thanks for the tracking, because it is the worst to try to commentate and track at the same time.
Yeah,
It's like
it gets
walking
real
and chewing
confusing.
gum. It's like walking and chewing gum, or playing Randomizer and remembering to update your own tracker. Very difficult things. So, and also, thank you to the Restream crew. We got Feasel running the hardware. I don't know who's running the software right now, but it might be Feasel. Might be Mythical 9. But thanks for that, and also thank you to you, Herfy Durfy, once again for making this an enjoyable commentary experience for all of us.
Thank you very much. Right back at you. Thank you, of course, to the two runners, as you were saying. If you've enjoyed what you've seen there, Feasel just put the links to these guys' Twitch accounts in the chat, so please throw AA and Gem a follow. They definitely deserve all the support they can get. And all the same thanks that Bob just gave from me as well. And of course, a big thank you to Dr. Bob for commentating with me. It is always a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I think that's going to do it for today. Once again, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed anything you saw here today, the best way to support any of the people involved is to just give them a follow. It's very nice, and we'd all appreciate it. So thank you very much for watching. And with that, I have been Dr. Bobtastic.
And I've been Herfy Durfy, and I hope you guys have a great night.
Goodbye, everybody.